All right, tell me if this sounds familiar. You download a budgeting app, you're feeling motivated, ready to get your money life together, and 5 minutes in, you're staring at 42 different spending categories and thinking to yourself, do I really need to track how much money I spent on toothpaste last month? I used to think budgeting had to be super detailed to work. Spreadsheet, color-coded chart, every penny accounted for. But all it did was stress me out even more. It felt more like a guilt trap than an actual helpful tool. That's when I started applying minimalist principle to my finances, just like I did with my fashion. And suddenly, budgeting felt lighter, simpler, and actually doable. So in today's video, I'm walking you through how I budget now as a minimalist. No complicated formula, no shame spiral, just a simple, clear system that helps me save money, spend on what actually matters, and keep my finances chill and intentional. Let's get into it. Number one, start with your enough number, not someone else's budgeting template. Now let's start where most budget don't, by asking a super basic but powerful question. What's actually enough for me? And I'm not talking about someone else's, I'm talking about you. See, most budgeting advice jumps straight into categories. Rent, groceries, subscriptions, iced coffee quotas, etc. But if you don't pause to define what enough looks like in your life, you end up trying to fit into someone else's money system. And I've been there. I'd copy someone else's budgeting system from YouTube or Pinterest, thinking, if it works for them, then it'll work for me as well. And most of the time, it doesn't. So what changed? Well, what changed for me was taking a minimalist approach and asking, what do I need to feel secure, not just financially, but emotionally as well? And that's where your enough number lives. For me, it meant calculating the basics: rent, food, phone, transportation, and then asking, okay, beyond survival, what do I actually value? That includes things like weekly dinner with friends, fashion because I love clothes, and saving for weekend getaways since I enjoy traveling. And anything else, I ditch all the extras that didn't spark anything except a smaller bank balance. So before you get lost in apps and pie chart, start with this. What are your non-negotiables? What do you spend money on that actually feels like it's worth it? And what are you paying for out of habit, guilt, or FOMO? And once you know that, the rest of your budget gets so much easier to build and way more in line with the life you're actually trying to create. Number two, I only use 3 budget categories. Now let's be real. Traditional budgeting used to stress me out. You know, the ones with 19 different categories like entertainment, grooming, miscellaneous, household expense, emergency bagel fund. I mean, let's be honest, right? Who has time to track all of that? So I simplify, like drastically. I now budget using just 3 categories: essentials, joy, and future me. And here's how it works. Essentials, this is the keep me alive and functioning stuff. Rent, food, phone bills, transit, and the basic items. These are the things I can't skip or postpone. I mean, I keep this section tight but realistic. So like that, I don't have to suffer to save. Then you have joy. And yes, guys, I budget for joy because think about it, right? What's the point of being financially responsible if you're constantly miserable? So discover the stuff that makes life feel good. Dinner with friends, a weekend trip, or some new clothes. But here's the key. I choose my joy intentionally and no more impulse spending just because I'm bored. And lastly, you have future me. This is where saving, investing, and emergency fund live. Every month, a solid chunk goes straight there and it's non-negotiable. It's a way of saying to myself, hey, future me, I got you covered. And that's about it. 3 categories. I don't track every meal or get guilt trip over a snack because it's already accounted for in one of those buckets. So minimalist budget is all about clarity, not perfection. 3 categories set up. It gave me my financial peace back without turning me into this spreadsheet zombie. Number 3, needs versus wants. My budgeting superpower. Now let's talk about the ultimate budgeting filter, needs versus wants. And it sounds basic, right? But honestly, once I started getting real with myself about this, it changed everything. Before, I told myself I needed things that were clearly a want. Like that limited edition hoodie that looked exactly like the 3 I already had, or a random kitchen gadget that TikTok swore would change my life. And for a while, I actually believed it because, let's be honest guys, retail therapy is real. But minimalist budgeting taught me to pause and ask a better question. Is this a need or just something I wanted for that moment? So here's how I break it down. Needs are about functioning, stability, health, and peace of mind. They keep your life running, and if skipping them truly mess up your day-to-day, it's a need. Wants, on the other hand, is all about desire, trends, emotion, or comparison. That doesn't mean they're bad, it just means that they don't get any free pass. These days, I give myself room for both, but I'm honest about which is which. And here's the minimalist twist, right? I stopped trying to eliminate wants completely because that's never going to work in the long term. Instead, I prioritize them. Like, if I've been wanting something for 2 weeks straight and it still feels worth it, that's a green light. But if it's a 5-minute craving from scrolling, probably not. So yeah, learning the real difference between needs and wants and not lying to myself about it became my secret budgeting weapon. Less guilt, more clarity, and way more intentional spending. Number 4, how I handle irregular expenses without panicking or surprises. Now let's talk about the sneaky budget killers. Irregular expenses, you know, those random surprise costs that somehow show up every single year, even though there shouldn't be any surprises at all. I'm talking about car registrations, annual subscriptions, birthday gifts, that random medical copay, or your best friend last minute birthday present. And I remember back in the day, those expenses used to kill me. Just when I feel like I was doing great, then boom, $120 out of nowhere. My whole budget would crumble like a staple cookie. So here's what I do now, and Minimalist Budget helped me make this so much easier. I build what I like to call my quiet categories. These are little sinking funds I treat like bills, but I don't touch them every single month. So every paycheck, I set aside a small amount into different buckets: travel, gifts, medical, car stuff, and miscellaneous chaos. And just so you guys wondering, yes, that's literally what I call it in my apps. Even if it's $10 or $20 per category, it all adds up. That way, when my clothes reorder themselves or Netflix charge me for my annual plan, I'm like, cool, handle, I'm not stressed about it. No mental gymnastic, just peace. And honestly, this habit came straight out of minimalism. I realized that I don't need to track everything, but I do need to prepare for the inevitable. So instead of pretending irregular expenses don't exist and hoping for the best, I quietly budget for them in the background. It's low key, low pressure, and super effective. So if budgeting ever makes you feel like you're constantly catching up or being blindsided, try adding some quiet categories. It's seriously one of the most stress-free shifts I've ever made. Number 5, tracking without obsessing. Making budgeting feel like a routine, not a chore. Now let's be honest, right? There's a fine line between tracking your money and spiraling over every $3 coffee. And when I first started budgeting, I went full on spreadsheet mode. Like, I was categorizing every single transaction, color coding everything, updating it nightly like some kind of financial librarian. It lasted for about 2 weeks, then came the burnout. Got overwhelmed and just stopped completely altogether. So here's what I do now. I track enough to stay aware, but not enough to drive myself crazy. And minimalism taught me that clarity doesn't have to mean more details. It can also mean less distraction. Now, I only track what matters. For me, that's 3 things: how much I save, what I'm spending on extras, and if I'm staying within my monthly limit. I use one budgeting apps, nothing fancy, just something that shows me where I'm at in a quick glance. I check it every Sunday, that's about it. And here's the magical part, right? The more intentional I became with my spending, the less I had to track. When you're not impulsive shopping every few days, your budget basically runs itself. So if you ever feel like budgeting was this overwhelming, this is the perfect opportunity to give yourself permission to chill and track what helps you stay grounded and let the rest go. Because budgeting doesn't have to feel like homework. It can feel like clarity, like confidence, and like freedom. You're not here to obsess, you're here to feel in control and align with what actually matters to you. So guys, thank you for watching this week's video. If you gain any value, don't forget to like, subscribe, and push the notification bell for more on sustainable fashion, personal finance, and minimalism. I'll see you guys on my next video.